It's time for a new challenge. It's the beginning of the Kendra's Card Challenge number 20. And so today's video is part of a hop. And all of the designers in today's hop will be creating cards using the sketches from the card challenge number 20. So today I am going to be creating sketch number 10. And I've decided that I'm going to use last month's mystery card kit sampler from Kendra's Patreon. So if you want to participate in this challenge, all you need to do is look in my description for more information. There'll be a link so you can go and download the PDF and play along with us. So the PDF will show you how to use 6x6 sheets of paper to create 15 cards. Once you create those cards, you can actually enter the giveaway by taking one photo of all 15 cards and adding it to the link that's mentioned in the PDF. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on sketch number 10. And I thought it was fitting. It's the beginning of October, and since this kit last month had Halloween in it, I thought that I would use that for today's card. So sketch number 10 has some little squares going across the bottom, and it's really that simple. So for this one though, it actually has, you have the card base and then you have the background paper. And so on the sketch, if you'll look at it, you'll see that the color paper like A, B, C, D, and E of any of the sketches are the colored ones, and that's your 6x6 paper. But now the gray and white, those are papers you pull from your stash that could be, well, the gray was actually the card base there, and then the white for this sketch is any color you want. If you want to do a solid that goes along with your paper, or you can do like I am and use a piece of white paper and then create your own background, or just use the plain white paper. So today, since it's Halloween, I want to make a little bit of a grungy card for Halloween. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by stenciling my background paper using my spider stencil. And then I'm just bringing in some black Memento ink to stencil this in. Now I'm not going to stencil in the whole background. I'm just going to add a little bit of spider webs on different parts of my background. And I'm trying to keep, if you'll notice, I'm trying to keep the edges rounded on the spider web. I thought that it looked better than just chopped off, just stopping at a squared point. So that's why I'm adding more of a round edge to each one of these parts that I'm stenciling in. So I like how that looks. So I'm going to let that dry for a moment, and I'm going to go ahead and cut my paper because I kind of want to decide along with my paper, have my paper alongside of my background to decide what all I want to do to this background. So I've gone ahead and cut out those squares. That's really all there is for this card. And now I do want to lay out the squares just to get an idea. Do I want a black card base or do I want the orange card base? And all of these papers came from the mystery card kit sampler, or the mystery sampler card kit. And so, except for the white paper. So I'm just trying to decide if I want the black or the orange. And I'm just going to test it out. I'm just laying these squares out. They're not perfect and they're not how I'm going to glue them down. I just want to kind of get an idea of those colors with the background. And I think that it really pops more on the orange. So I'm going to go ahead and use the orange for my card base. And actually this orange is not a card base, but I'll just glue that onto my card base. So you're not going to see what color my card actually is. You'll see that orange. So I'm going to come back with some acrylic paint mixed with some water, and I'm going to add a bit of splashes to this background. And then I'm also going to grab my orange ink. I'm going to smush it on a piece of plastic, spray some water on it, and add some orange splashes. So I'm mixing the acrylic and the ink splashes. So the black, it's just, there's a little bit of difference when you use acrylic splashes versus the water-based inks. And so I like the variety that it adds to this card. So that's why I'm using two different types of splashes. And then the more I look at this, I don't think that this stark white looks good with the paper that I'm going to use. So I've gone ahead and smushed some brown ink onto my plastic, and then I sprayed it down with some water. And I'm just going to take my finger, you could use anything, a paintbrush or anything, and just, you know, smear out that ink so that it doesn't have that squared look from the ink pad. And then I'm just going to add it to the background. And then I'll also just smush that around, and I will come back and add a little bit more inking with the brown ink just to fill in more of the white. So while I'm doing that, I want to tell a little bit more about Kendra's Card Challenge and this hop. So this is a hop with a giveaway, and there's some awesome prizes to be won. So be sure to stick around to the end, because in order to enter this giveaway, each designer on the hop will have a phrase or a passphrase that you will use on the giveaway hop link. So you have to look in the description for that link. When you fill out the form, there will be a passphrase. So you'll be able to enter the giveaway at each video that you visit on this hop. And so I'll give you my passphrase in just a little while. So for our card challenges, we do have some great sponsors this time. And our sponsors really help keep this hop going. They provide products for us to create cards to show you. They also provide the prizes that you will that you could receive after entering. There's also prizes you can win if you actually enter the card challenge. If you complete your 15 cards and take the photo of them and enter the challenge, then there's prizes you could possibly win as well. Okay, so back to the card. So once I inked it with the brown ink, I felt like that black was pushed to the back some. So I'm just going to come back over it and darken up some of the black webs or the edges where the webs are, and just add a little bit more black to that so that they pop out just a little bit more. And then I'm going to come back with my orange splashes. The black ones you can still see, but the orange ones you can't see because the brown has kind of covered it up. So I'm just going to come back with that and splash over it again, just so those orange splashes will pop. Okay, so our background is complete. I've dried it. I also inked around the edges with some black ink. And so now I'm going to add my little squares. So for these, there's really no specific measurements as to how you lay them out. There's just measurements for the squares themselves. So what I do is I just lay the sketches beside me and I just try to follow that the best I can. And that's what I'm doing here. Now, once I started gluing these down, I realized I started on the wrong side. So I'm just going to give you a little pointer. I didn't redo the card, but I just wanted to give you a pointer. If you want to not have to go so fast. I had to go quickly before the glue dried because you can see I'm adding the squares underneath the edge of the previous one. So you have to move kind of quick, and it's kind of nerve-wracking because I was afraid that it was going to stay glued down and I couldn't get it up under there. So the best thing to do is start on the right-hand side, putting your squares on, and work towards the left. So in other words, don't do as I did. Go ahead and start on the right-hand side, because when I make this card again, I will start on the right-hand side and layer them up, because then you're just layering one on top of the other rather than underneath. So that's just a little pointer to help you out when you create yours. So now you can see I'm just laying them out just like the sketch. And when I do this, I'm going to have two squares hanging off the edge. So what I want to do with those is I'm just going to trim those off. So that'll just be some little extra pieces that we want to get rid of so that everything lays flush with my background paper. Okay, so while I'm adding this to my card base and finishing up this card, I just want to let you know what the passphrase is for my video. So for my video, the passphrase is Pear Blossom Press, and they are one of our sponsors. And Pear Blossom Press has all kinds of products that go along with card making. One of the things that really stands out with Pear Blossom Press is their lights. You can buy lights to light up your card. And a couple of months ago, I'm not sure if it was last month or month before, I did have a video where I collabed with Pear Blossom Press and created a Christmas card that lit up. And so those cards are really neat to create. And so be sure to check out Pear Blossom Press and check out and see what all they have. I will link below to Pear Blossom Press so that you can check those out. Also, don't forget to put that in as your passphrase for this video. Now, keep in mind, all the other designers will have different passphrases, so be sure to watch their videos and see their passphrases as well. But also watch their videos, because if you're going to play along with Kendra's Card Challenge number 20, you'll really want to watch them and see each card being created. And that way, each designer can give you tips on what they learned while making their sketch. So here I am just heat embossing the word boo. Now, I had a problem. I could not find any Happy Halloween sentiments to add to this card. Now, the sketch does not show a sentiment, so you don't have to add a sentiment. I could have stopped before the sentiment. but I could have just left it just like this and not added a sentiment, which it's cute like that, but I just really wanted a sentiment on it. So I looked at my craft room, and the only Happy Halloween stamp that I actually had was one I received free when I bought a certain amount from scrapbook.com. But you can see that one is just too big. I was trying to figure out how I could use that one on my card, but it's just so big, it's just going to cover up too much stuff. And I was trying to think if I could stamp it separate and make a long line, but then it would be just too long on the card. So I'm just going to save that stamp for the inside of the card, and I'm just going to use this Boo that I stamped out. That was the only other Halloween sentiment I could find in my stash, and that stamp set I bought many, many years ago. So probably over 10 years ago. But I thought that would work perfect for a Halloween card. So that's what I'm going to just go ahead and add. And I created a banner out of that little piece. And that is just more of the paper that was in the card kit. And so what I did was I just stamped it in black and then added the heat embossing so that the word would show up, since there is a pattern in the background. Well, so here is my completed card. I hope you've enjoyed seeing me put this card together. I hope you'll join Kendra's Card Challenge number 20 and participate, and I hope you have a lot of fun with it. And thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hop along to all of the other designers in this hop, and you can find that link in the description as well. So if you'll look in my description, there'll be a playlist, and if you click on that playlist, you'll see all the other videos in this hop so that you can follow along and create cards along with them, or just follow along and see everyone's cards that they're creating today. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.